Thank you very much for the invitation. It's my second time in Istanbul this year, maybe not the last one. Well, thank you. I'd like to talk about fast digital innovation. And the reason why I would like to share a few words about digital innovation is because I strongly believe that innovation can change every company in the world for better. Just to introduce myself, I come from a small town, small village from Spain. It's a small village which is known for nothing, but it's geographically positioned very well because it's the village which is next to the biggest factory that produces Seat cars. So when I was young, all my generation was raised in school with one message. From 0 years to 16 years, we were educated with the following message. You need to continue your studies. You cannot go to work for Seat when you turn 16, because they know that when we were turning 16, the option of going to work to Seat and stop studying was so big, and everyone wanted to win money. So half of my class left when we were 16 and went to Seat. Then the Spanish crisis came, and they today do not have jobs. But in that time, they went to Seat. And I remember when I was 17, I told to my parents, I want to create a company on internet. I want to create digital innovation. And my parents, my father and my mother told me, are you sure you do not prefer to go to Seat to work? Said, not really. I really prefer to work on internet. So for 5 years, I had to convince everyone that innovation was a good thing. And I remember every single person I talked to, they were telling me, all my town, neighbors, family, friends were telling me, you will fail. You will fail because you were born in Spain, not in Silicon Valley, United States, so you cannot create an internet company. And even in Spain, you were not born in Barcelona or Madrid. You were born in Olesa de Montserrat, my village. So you cannot create Silicon Valley in your village. 5 years after that, our project worked very well. We received the most important award we could from the king and queen from Spain. And I remember when they called me to tell me, you will receive this important award. I asked, can I invite people to the award? And they said, yes, you invite wherever you want. And I thought, okay. So I invited my whole town. I invited everyone. And actually, 100 people accepted. So I remember when I had the prize, the statue, going down and talking to people. And everyone was telling me, everyone that before told me you will fail, everyone was telling me, I knew you would be super successful. I'm proud of you. I said, that's not real. You were telling me I would fail. I remember. No, you misunderstood. You didn't understand me well. Not fail, but success. Next time, listen to me better. So I learned that day that innovation actually doesn't matter. Because if your companies are super innovative and you do a lot of innovation and you fail, people will tell you, oh, I warned you. You better listen to me. I told you you would fail. And if you are successful, people will tell you, I knew you were going to be successful. So it actually doesn't matter what do we do, but still, we actually need to talk about innovation. And if we talk about innovation, there are two ways on focusing innovation, the slow and the fast. The slow is the way things do not work. So I will talk about the fast innovation. And since a lot of people is talking about fast innovation, I will talk only about being fast. Because sometimes we forget that if we want to be innovative, we are competing against many companies in the world. And it does not matter if our company sells a product which is not ours. If I'm selling a car and the car was not built by me, I still should be innovative because I have lots of competitors who are doing the same. Just to prove that being fast is important. In just 1 second, every second in the world, in 1 second there are 4 babies born. This is quite a lot. In the world, there are 4 new babies born every second. My question is, if there are 4 babies, how many smartphones are getting sold and activated in 1 second? Someone could say 4. Like every new baby, we give him his smartphone. Someone could say, no, 3 or 2 or 1. Well, 4 new babies and 45 smartphones sold every second. And this is important because it changes everything. Oh, by the way, 45 smartphones, only Apple and Android. Do you know how many they are if we also add BlackBerry? 45. BlackBerry, it's no longer working. If you have a BlackBerry, you throw it away and you buy an Apple or Android or whatever. Okay, innovation means using the last technologies, okay? So, the world is moving fast. And if we talk about innovation and fast innovation, I should ask which companies are faster when they innovate. And you will answer, well, startups, small companies. I cannot be fast because my company is 500 employees, 5,000 employees. And you can be fast because your company is 30 people. Well, let's compare how startups and multinationals do innovation. I would like to talk about 2 metrics, 2 ways of understanding the speed of innovation. The first one is something called TTT, which means time to Tom, which is how far am I if everything that my company is doing goes wrong, if all my projects go wrong, I fail on all my projects, how far am I from going to bankruptcy, from closing the company? Well, of course, if I'm a startup, it will be 1 or 2 months. If everything I do goes wrong, I will be closing the company in 2 months. A multinational will be 10 to 20 years. They can do everything wrong, and still the company will survive a lot of years. The second one is the TTP, which is time to prototype, which is how far am I when I have an idea from creating the prototype. Let's calculate in your companies how long the time is between the moment when any of your employees say, oh, I have an idea that we could improve something, and that idea actually reaches the first of your consumers. Probably, if you are a startup, it will be 1 to 2 weeks. And you will not choose one customer. You will choose all of them because you are brave. If you are a multinational, that could be 1 to 2 years. And this has direct relationship with a TTT. If I know that I need to innovate because if I not, I will die in 2 months, I will be super fast. But if I know that my company will not go wrong until 2045, well, I can take a lot of time on creating prototypes. But the world is changing, and nowadays, a lot of things we believed stop being true. For a long time, there were some companies which told, well, you know, I'm not really worried about innovation because no one can create a small company and compete with me. Like, for example, car dealers, the car creators. You went to Germany to talk to BMW or to Audi, and they told you, no one can compete with us. With the luxury cars, if someone creates a new brand, who will believe them? We have been here for 70 years now. Well, then Tesla appeared and said, hello, I'm a new brand. Last year, Tesla sold more luxury cars in the US than any other brand. So Tesla demonstrated that there are no big brands or brands big enough to not allow small competitors to arrive. Just for example, let's imagine one of your companies wants to create a robot that will drive inside a hotel alone. It will be self-driving inside a hotel, and it will be a robot delivering you food to your room. Like this one. My question is, how long would it take you to create this robot? 1 year, 6 months, 5 months. Well, 3 ex-Google ventures created it in 5 days. So anything after 5 days means going slow. Let's see how they did. They created a program called Sprint. Within 5 days, only in 5 days, they created the prototype, the idea, and actually they tested it out. So it was Monday, they decided they wanted to build this robot, and the first thing they did was to book an hotel room for Friday. And on Friday, they had the prototype, and they actually tested it. The way they tested the robot, it's brilliant. They invited some random people in the hotel hall. Could you do an interview with us? It will be just 15 minutes, and we pay the last night rate for you. So you give us 15 minutes, we do some questions to you, and we will pay the bill for your last night sleep. So the interview, they did not say anything about the robot. The interview was like, when you travel, which kind of suitcase do you carry? When you arrive to the hotel, what do you do first? What kind of pillow do you like? And eventually they asked, if you check that you forgot toothpaste, what do you do? And they answered, well, I call reception. Said, okay, well, can you do that right now just to try? Okay, so they call reception, I need toothbrush or toothpaste or whatever. Okay, sir, we are delivering it to you in a few minutes. And they continued the interview. So you travel alone or with family when you do business. And eventually someone rang the door and said, oh, it must be the toothpaste. You can go and check it. And when they opened the door, they found a robot delivering the toothpaste. So actually, the whole interview was a fake interview just to arrive to this moment. Because the robot, the prototype, was full of cameras filming the reaction when they opened the door. Because the reason why the project would go further or not, the reason that would make this team to decide, I want to move from a prototype to a real project and company, was to check the face of the people when opening the door. And they were so happy to see a nice robot delivering toothpaste that actually they decided to create a company. Let me bring another example. If this demonstrates we need to be fast, there is another thing which is important. We cannot never think that a small company is not our competitor because they are too small. Let me try to demonstrate that. Imagine you are Thermomix, the giant company creating the machine to cook food. And let's imagine we are on a board of directors from Thermomix, a board of advisors, a board of investors on Thermomix, and we are analyzing our biggest competitors. We will be seeing a slide like this one. So they are competing with big companies, Bellini, MyCook, Tefal. They will be competing with them, and I'm sure they completely analyzed each one of them, and they know what do they do better and what do they do less better or worse. But I'm pretty sure no one from the directors of Thermomix know that there is something called mellow. So a group of 3 people decided that the cooking machines were too expensive, and they created one thinking that there were no cooking machines in the world. What should a cooking machine look like if there were no cooking machines in the world? So they transformed everything. They created a new system which actually is getting used by super good chefs in the world called sous vide. They cook using water without boiling, using special bags, etc. And they are actually cooking through a smartphone app. So you actually take your smartphone, you decide what do you want, you just put the ingredients, you forget about that, and you tell the machine, I will be arriving tonight at 7, so I want you to be 3 hours slow cooking this because I want it medium rare. And when you arrive, beep, it will be ready and warm. Let's say you get stuck in a traffic jam, you will tell through the app you're arriving 1 hour late and everything will reconfigure to be ready. Or you go to sleep, you leave 3 eggs and you say, I want them perfectly boiled from outside, but in the interior I want them liquid. And I will be waking up at, well, the smartphone knows because you have the alarm here. So Mellow will automatically configure itself to have your eggs ready just 30 minutes after your alarm so you can have time to take a shower. So eventually, we have something which is super better than Thermomix. Question is, if a Thermomix is up to $2,000, how much should be Mellow? Well, the answer is that they are 1/4 priced from Thermomix. By the way, if you want one, they are now even with some sales discount. But still, we should ask us, why is this happening? Why did Thermomix not buy them already? Because probably they feel Mellow is too small to understand that as a real competitor. So my question is, do we understand that small companies are really our competitors? Because if we do not understand that, it means we are not seeing potential new players into our market. We should then ask ourselves, if Internet of Things, if technology is creating a new world of possibilities, should we think that we are on the IoT, Internet of Things era? Well, it's not me who says that, it's Gartner. If you see Gartner, they put Internet of Things on the 10 strategic technology trends for 2015. But if we look carefully, we'll see that 8 out of 10 have direct relation with Internet of Things. We have computing everywhere, Internet of Things itself, 3D printing, advanced pervasive and invisible analytics, context-rich systems, smart machines, cloud client computing, and web-scale IT. So we have 80% of the trends telling every company in the world you need to be innovative on connecting devices. I'll try to demonstrate that that's true, but let's tell something first. Internet of Things, innovation, technology is not about creating new things. It's not about creating things for 10 years before we can know if they will work or not. It's more about mixing, but mixing the correct portions of everything. Just to introduce an example, 2 years ago, I discovered I would be via that, so my wife was pregnant and we would be father and a mother. That was super good news. We were so happy. I'm not a normal millennial because millennials do not have kids and they are not married, so let's imagine this is not my kid, okay? But still, one person from our team just got the news he was going to have a child. And I remember when my wife told me, she is a project manager, a very good project manager, and she told me, we must understand our new member in the family as a project. So we have 9 months to prepare our lives for the rest of our lives. And she decided, okay, she divided the tasks and she told me, you are in charge of technology. I said, yes, I love that. So you can choose the technology that will surround the baby. I said, yes. I asked, and you? She said, no, don't worry, but you are in charge of technology. Yes, I will be just in charge of the name, the room, the family, the trip, the new car we'll have, the place where we'll live, the place where we'll spend vacations, which series will we do, how we'll split baby tasks, like everything. But you will be part of technology. So I was kind of happy. It was not exactly well balanced, but I have a really nice thing to decide. So I decided technology. But I was actually sad when I discovered that the only thing you need when you have a baby on the technology side is this. It's a camera, just to check on the baby. So I checked on Amazon.com, and this was 2 years ago the best-selling camera, and it was priced $220. Still, I thought, well, I need to check if this is the best option. So I called Motorola, and I asked a few questions. So I called, there was a guy on the other part of the line, and he answered me. First question, can I use it when I'm traveling? So if I'm in Turkey and I have this at home, can I see my baby? He said, no, I'm sorry, sir. You can only use it from home. It's radio, not IP or Wi-Fi, so I'm sorry, you can only see when you're at home. I said, okay. So can I use my smartphone to see him? No, I'm sorry, sir, you can only use the screen we provide. Okay. So at least please tell me I can use it when I'm on the backyard. I said, oh, no, I'm sorry, sir. If there are strong walls, the signal could get lost. Okay, so you are telling me that I need to be next to my baby, like the baby can be here and I can be here watching him. Maybe I can drop this thing and just look at him directly. Well, I'm sorry, sir, I cannot offer anything else. Okay, so that was an option. But since I had time, because the only thing I had to do with the baby was technology, I checked other options. And I discovered there was a computer which is actually the size of a credit card. It's this size, more or less. The computer is more or less this size. It's a small computer, and it was priced at $30. It's called Raspberry Pi. I must say, today there is a new version which costs only $5, but 2 years ago it was 30. So this is a dumb computer. It does nothing by default. You have to program it somehow. It had an official camera module, so it costed $19, so I also bought that because I wanted to create my own baby monitor camera. But I still had one more problem. Yes, I did not want my baby to grow looking at this. This is like, we are watching you. You are being watched. No privacy. Big brother said, okay, I need to find something else. So I discovered this European website, this Dutch website, which was selling this beautiful clothes hanger. So I thought, okay, maybe I can destroy the eyes and put some cameras or whatever. So I bought it, and I called my brother-in-law because he's a super good engineer. So I asked my brother-in-law to make some holes. We all have a brother-in-law who helps us making holes, right? You have him. If you do not have that, it means you are the brother-in-law who helps other people making holes. So still, I pointed where I wanted. He said, okay, let's try to do it. So he made the holes. He's a good engineer, isn't he? And we put the cameras. But since it has 2 eyes, we put 2 cameras. One for night vision, the other one for day vision. And eventually, we had a beautiful computer, but it did nothing. So I thought, if I have to be programming for 6 months to create a baby monitor, maybe the 200 version is not that expensive. And I was super lucky, the luckiest person in the world, because I found the only website in the internet explaining how to create a motion detection camera on a Raspberry Pi. Well, maybe it was not the only one. There was another one explaining the same. And another one, and another one. Okay, there were more than 200,000 pages on the internet explaining you how to do that. So you could create this baby monitor without programming anything, just mixing things. The result was that I asked myself, what should I buy? Actually, what would you buy if you had a new baby coming? This camera, 220, you cannot use it if you are traveling, you cannot use it from the backyard, you cannot use it with your smartphone, or this beautiful baby monitor for $67, just creating 1 unit. I assume if we created thousands of units, we could put the price down. But even more, which one would you choose? This one for $220, or this one for $220, understanding that you can actually use it from abroad, working with your smartphone, having multiple people seeing it, etc., etc. I must say I brought it today. Well, it works, and actually it exists. If you want to actually create one, you talk to me. So still, my wife is now wondering, where the hell is the baby monitor? Well, it's in Istanbul, you know, sometimes I need it. But my question is, why is Motorola still selling baby monitors? Because Motorola was a too big company to fail, remember? You remember the time where Nokia was the #1 mobile phone creator? We all had a Nokia. But then, we throw the Nokia to the floor. It didn't break because they were unbreakable. You could not break a Nokia phone, we all know that. Because we throw it away and we bought a BlackBerry. Because Nokia was not innovative. So Nokia went bankruptcy almost and then acquired. So we were all using BlackBerry. And why should I be innovative, BlackBerry thought, if everyone in the world wants a BlackBerry? Well, they are super close to bankruptcy. But we also had Motorola phones before Google acquired them just for the patents, because nobody wanted anymore a Motorola phone. So my question is, why are they selling baby monitors? if you can create a much better one. Well, this is my email in case someone wants to create a business on this. So let me continue. Just kidding. We need to act like startups, because even if we are big companies, or we are small companies, we need to act like startups. It doesn't mean we need to be startups. In fact, the best combination is to have a multinational kind of startup or a big company kind of startup. So we will have a TTT, time to TOM, of 10 to 20 years, and we will have a time to prototype of 1 or 2 weeks. So just in summary, acting like a real startup. Eventually, how does a startup work? Because if we want to be innovative, which kind of process should we apply? Well, it depends. Do we want just a small department called innovation, or should we invite everyone from the company to give us their ideas? Because a person selling, actually a salesman selling cars, knows much more about the process and the reasons why someone could buy a new car than a technician guy. So why should we allow only one person to give ideas? Because we should allow salesmen to give ideas on how to sell more. What do they need to actually sell more cars? While we should ask to mechanics, what do they need in order to fix car faster? Eventually, we need to ask everyone, what can I give you as a company in order for you to make your job better, safer, and happier? Because if you do your job better, safer, and happier, my company will go better, and you will be actually better working on it. There are thousands of processes like Lean Startup, which actually invite us to change, because we need to actually understand that changing is always necessary. If we are stuck in something, we will fail. Just 2 more examples and I'll be finished. Just to demonstrate how important it is to change, to understand that changing positions is important, I will ask you something. There is a creative director in Spain which actually talks about how do we see ourselves if we were animals. And I must ask you, if I give you 2 options as managers of companies, what would you like to be? And I offer you to be a super beautiful koala. You know koalas, they are super nice. And a rat, that disgusting thing. My question is, anyone on the room prefers to be a rat instead of a koala? Not really, right? Okay, anyone? Okay, so we are all koalas, that's beautiful. Let me tell you that a koala lives super happily, but if the global temperature on its environment changes 1% over a year, the koala dies. If we pick the koala and bring it to another country or to a zoo, the koala probably will die. If the food the koala eats changes its pH just with 1%, the koala dies. So if anything changes, the koala will die. Now we have rats. Rats, they live everywhere. Rats live in every building in the world. They live on a 55th floor from a super big building. They survive to earthquakes, to nuclear bombs. They survive to everything. They just survive. If a boat is actually flooding, you check for rats and they will point you the road to exit. So rats get adapted to the environment while koalas die. My question is, anyone here wants to be anymore a koala? So we actually need to understand that changing is on the DNA of innovation. We cannot do these kind of processes if we are not okay on measuring and learning, understanding that everything we do may be a big failure. My final example is from the car industry. I'm lucky to be part of, as an external member of a group of investigation, a research group from a Swiss business school called IMD. And we study some innovation topics that may be on the future happening to all of us. And there is one which is super nice, which is this one. Let's assume that today, not in the future, but today we already have self-driving cars. If you have a Tesla, or the latest version of a Mercedes S-Class, you know there is the autopilot function where you just leave the steering wheel and the car will drive itself on a highway until it detects some kind of danger. Then it will tell you, no, you drive now manually because I cannot drive anymore. But this is not the future. This is today. If you have money enough to buy this kind of cars, there are some models which can have autopilot function. So let's assume 10 years from now or 20 years from now, let's assume we are in the year 2030 and we live in a world full of autonomous cars. This is cars which completely drive themselves alone, so human cannot have interaction with a car. There is no steering wheel. We cannot take control. We are just a passenger, okay? And let's assume we are inside our car, the car is driving itself, and the car enters a bridge, which is a super high bridge. There is no water, just rocks. And the car is going at 90 kilometers per hour. And suddenly, the car detects, after a curve, 4 beautiful children playing. What the hell are 4 beautiful children in the middle of the bridge? We are not asking that, okay? Let's assume this happened. So, if we are driving the car by our own, well, that's easy. We will try to brake. We will brake and pray to stop the car before the kids. Because we, human beings, we are naive. And we believe, well, I'm sure I will stop before the kids. But cars, autonomous cars, are full of sensors. And sensors do not lie. Sensors do not tell lies. Except if they are Volkswagen, then some cars do not give the exact values on some things. But let's assume this is not. Okay, let me continue. So whatever, a special hack to Volkswagen people. So let's assume this car is not lying on the values. The car knows everything. The car knows the temperature on the road, on the wheels, on the environment, on the air. The coefficient to check if the wheels were used for a long time or not. The car knows everything. And the car knows where exactly can he stop just 1 millisecond after detecting the 4 kids. And the car knows that there is no way it can stop at least 300 meters after going over the kids. The question is, what should the car do? Because there are only 2 options. You continue, you go over the kids and you brake after. It's not your fault. Actually, if someone is going to jail, it will be the kid's father or mother who left them in the road, not you. That's an option. You go over the kids. The other possible option, the only other possible option, is the car to turn the wheels to the right, crash, destroy the bridge, fall, and kill the driver. That's an option. The question is, what should the car do? Because there are only 2 ways to see it. If we understand our customer is the person who bought the car, we will save him. But if we understand that the car should take always the decision which will save more lives, the car will calculate. We'll do a simple calculation. I have 4 children in front of me. They are 5 years old. Let's say they will live until they are 95. So each of them have 90 years above. It means 360 years total. And the car knows inside the car there is only one 55-year-old man, not really sporty, high levels of cholesterol, not really a good life. He cheats on his wife. The car knows because the car drives him to see the lovers. Not really the best husband in the world. Let's say he will live 30 more years. So the car could choose, okay, 300 more than 30, I'm killing the driver. I don't know. But instead of making you one simple question, I will make you 2 questions. Because this exercise is to demonstrate that in innovation, not taking a decision means taking a decision. My first question is, if you were the manager of innovation, the innovation chief from a car company, you are in charge of innovation, and a programmer comes to you and asks you, okay, I have this situation, what should the car do? if this occurs, you have to choose. You kill the babies, you kill the driver. You choose 360 years, you choose 30 years. But still, you will not go to jail because we will inform the driver when he comes to buy a new car. So we are covered, legally covered. Anything you choose, that's fine. My question is, any one of you would actually kill the 4 children? No? That's good. So you will kill the driver. Okay. Well, the driver, by the way, is the guy paying you for the car, but that's okay. He already paid, so it's not our problem anymore. So, okay, let's assume we all would save the children. Now the second question. If you were going to buy a new car, you are going to buy a new car 20 years from now, and you have 2 options. First option, you will buy my car, don't worry. If this happens, I will save you, because I love you. So do not buy the other car. You buy my car and I will always save you. I will go over the kids. I will just pay a psychology session for you, so you will, a therapist, so you will feel better. And I will save you. The other car company tells, you know, I'm sorry, but I might have to kill you. That's an option. But I will save lives. So you can feel super good when you are falling to your death because it means you just saved life. But still, if we choose a car that could save lives killing us, it means the car is choosing the maximum number of years, which also means that if we are not alone in the car, but you are going alone with your baby, and you are 50 and your baby is 1 year old, the car will decide to kill you and your baby to save 4 children, because they aggregated have more life years than you and your baby. My question is, anyone from this room would actually buy a car that can decide to kill both you and your baby just to save some other lives? Not really. Then we have a problem. And this is the perfect demonstration that if we are innovation managers, we make some wrong decisions. Because as innovation manager, everyone chooses to kill the driver and save the kids because that's the ethical thing. But as consumers, we would never choose a car that can kill our family. And this is the proof that when we are innovation managers, we really need to forget that we are innovation managers. We really need to understand that we are a customer of our own company. We need to take decisions thinking on what our customer would choose. Because everyone at every conference answers the same. I will never kill the kids if I was innovation manager. I will never buy a car that took my decision. Which is the reason why innovation means taking decisions. Let's imagine no one took this decision, well, the car will kill the kids, because no decision means trying to brake. And this situation, probably this one will not happen, because there are no kids in the middle of the bridges, but similar situations will happen. A car driving on Istanbul, a ball appears on the road, and you know, probably a kid will go running after the ball without looking that there is a car coming. Our car will have to choose to avoid kicking the kid, the child, just to go into a wall. Probably no one will get killed, but our car will wreck and break itself just to save a life. Who will pay for that? The insurance company? The car dealer who actually took the decision to ask the car to break itself? If we lose a plane, a flight, because the car took this decision, who will pay for our trip? There are many unanswered questions. There are many questions without an answer, but all of them have a common point, which is if we want to take part of the future, if we need to be innovative, because we do not want to be the next Motorola or the next Nokia or the next BlackBerry or the next wherever, we need to understand that our today decisions will have a direct meaning in what happens in our company tomorrow. Thank you very much to all of you for the time. Thank you.